And we all want to stay dry. Yeah. We're going to be out of here.
Think about this.
We're going to be out of here before it rains.
I'm just gonna make a statement, that's up to you all.
That's right.
Where you wanna
I
go?
have already been warned about my comments.
No, never said that.
No, that
Just before
you have a whole half hour, yes.
My back and share it.
I think that rain's gonna miss us.
Oh, Steve just had it. Oh, you're joking. He's joking.
Look at the same man.
Yeah.
I have a lawn to mow, so if you want,
Yeah.
we do get.
Yeah, you do. I just walked by there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she just reported you
What happens when we go to the cottage all weekend, even Friday night, go to South Bend today.
I was actually admiring your flowers.
Oh, I think I'll talk about that, finish here next week. So, 6:30?
Hold it. I got it. And it takes now. Actually, I should have been paying attention.
That's
But
right.
Go ahead. Just no big talk because this now the new encoder now takes like 4 minutes to start.
Okay. All right, well,
Maybe
we'll,
it comes up in a minute, but
we'll roll then when we start the committee of the whole. So consent agenda items. One thing I would like to do is a walk-on item because we have the Parks and Rec Committee. I see no reason to delay this. I'm going to ask for a walk-on item at the 7 o'clock meeting just to appoint Commissioner Glanville to the Parks and Rec Committee, just to make that official. Just to cross T's and dot I's there if the group is good with that.
did you say Carol?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And that way we'll have that done and we can start getting that committee formed. So that being said, any questions? We know Commissioner Burke is absent this evening. The appointment to the DDA board, the lady listed is Cindy Ludwick. She owns 7 in Main Salon. I got to know her as the salon opened up during the pandemic and went through a lot of the trials and tribulations that small businesses were going through during that with some of the shutdowns and so forth and how to navigate that. And they're opening a brand new business. So have gotten to know her and they have been incredibly participatory in the DDA events over time, and she's just become a very strong advocate for that group. So asking the commission to approve the recommendation there to appoint her.
She's really involved in our community engagement stuff too that we do on
Yeah.
like Michigan Drive too, the Scarecrow and the wreath contest
That's nice.
from
Yep.
last year
I was
too.
really impressed with her application. To see for the business district.
It's a little change up to that committee, so it's a good, I think it's a good help in bringing some, a different viewpoint in there. So, so that is the appointment to boards and committees, and then the other resolution we have is the Parks and Recreation Committee. Any discussion on that before? I think I've gone through it. I'm comfortable with everything in there. The only thing, and it'll be something we're hopefully all going to be around for a little while here, is the number of people. If we ever have less than 10, I think just be cautious as a commission that we can have up to, I'd almost look at it, but I don't want to split hairs on it either. And it was basically the amount of non-residents in there, up to 40 committee, maybe non-residents. Let's say we only had 6 on the committee or 7 on the committee. So I think just a caution of just be aware, but I don't want to slow this up. I think I'm comfortable with where we're at with it. I don't see a need to, as long as the commission is. We'll just be aware of it and making sure that we don't want to tip it where we have like an advisory committee that is made up of mostly non-walker, but I get the intent and
It
spirit of
does
it.
say up to, right?
Yes,
Okay.
but let's say but
Right,
then
right.
2, you only have up to 10 on the other.
Yeah, yeah.
Say if for some reason we had 2 people resign in the same month, and it tips the scale the other
Yeah,
way. So
okay.
that's all.
That sounds good.
So we'll go for that approval then. I guess for good and order, we'll start to the right. Madam Clerk? Commissioner Gilbert.
Planning Commission approved the Jason Ridge West condo project. There is some hairiness around the establishment of a new condo association versus having more individuals on the existing condo association, which we would typically expect. But because of the period of time that elapsed since the last expansion, state law and the Condo Act restricts the ability to accommodate this situation And I let our state rep's office know, and I expect them to resolve it because it's not that big a thing. And my understanding is that the reason it's that way is because of, they don't want these properties to sit vacant. If you're going to develop this, they have an expectation that you'll move in a certain cadence with the phases. And the way the statute was set up, it didn't really predict the 2008 real estate market and what happened there. So that's how that all kind of fell through and became a much longer gap than 6 years. But now that the housing market's picked back up, everybody's moving at full speed again. It seems like there would be a few pretty easy ways to resolve that. So, I kicked that can over, but there's some mixed emotions from the folks in the neighborhood about the two condo associations, but I'm sure it'll all get worked out. That's, I think, between the developers and the old association, so they're working that out. They're having meetings, so everything is headed in the right direction there. Only other thing, and this is just an awareness thing. Catholic Charities is reforming their young professionals group. I am involved, so if you guys know of any young folks, members of our good Catholic, the organization would love to have more of those folks funneled in.
I mean,
Can you
the part, but
define
not the
young?
young part. So.
Yeah.
Young, they are generally saying 21 to 39, but
Oh, wow.
they've pretty deliberately said we won't turn anyone away. But that's kind of the
That's a
typical
good demographic band.
Yeah, it gives a little bit of leeway on that so that we can draw folks in.
Okay.
That was it.
Well, good stuff. Easy stuff. All right, Commissioner Glanville.
Yep. First, I just want to say thanks to Nicole and the Community Engagement Committee and everybody else who was involved in the Pumpkin Bash. It was, a great event, as it tends to be. So that was a lot of fun to be a part of and see everybody out there. Second, I want to just remind everybody that at WIFIC they are collecting for Veterans Day, and they are veterans items, their annual collection, and they have a pretty specific list. So if you are so inclined, I'm sure it's on the website, but they also have these little papers. So if you, go work out at the Ice and Fitness Center, you can pick up a list, and then when you return to work out again, you can drop your stuff off. Thanks for Kenny being open. I'll let Commissioner DeShane talk about that maybe a little bit more since that's her thing, but I'm excited to see that piece of the trail complete, so that's good. And just, I know we're going to be talking about the Parks and Rec resolution later, and I just want to remind folks to be thinking about potential members, maybe thinking about doing some recruiting. We want people who have specific skill sets, maybe around real estate or land use, grant writing, strategic planning, schools. We want a cross-section of the community, socioeconomic, race, gender, age, ethnicity. Pickleball tends to be a really big item, and I think there should be a committee, but just thinking about the interests of people too, like we have this big pickleball, group, but then disc golf is super popular too, and I feel like they're maybe on opposite ends of age spectrum. So, just thinking about different types of activities, people who might be involved in different things, the hockey program, whatever. So, and then of course that they have the time and willingness to participate in the, meetings and events and things like that. So just keep your eyes and ears open, or if you happen to know of anybody, that we can do some outreach to, that'd be great. And then finally, I just want to mention, we talked last time about the waste to energy and the sustainable business park, and it's growing ever more interesting at the county level. So who knew trash could be so dramatic? However, I did invite Darboss to come and speak with us. He's planning to be here on the 25th of October. I think that's the date, whatever that Monday is. And there's a really good website through the county that kind of gives you some really simple ways to kind of get up to speed on the background of the landfills, the various landfills, the waste to energy plant, the sustainable business park, like what all of that is, how it all fits together. So I will send that link out to everybody so that you can have a look at it. Like I said, it's pretty quick information. There's some infographics and stuff, so it's not like you have to do a lot of heavy reading to get the gist. And I think that would be really helpful because, you know, the 6 cities have some really specific concerns about how that project moves forward or how it's, you know, paid for and things like that and what it means to us as partners and all that good stuff. And so just having some idea when he comes so we can, you know, make the most of our time with him would be, I think, advantageous.
Could we start him at the 6:30 and maybe coordinate with Sarah just to make an invite? Well, let's make a note that we have it on the agenda for the 25th, please. Yep.
Okay.
And then let's make sure so that if for some reason the conversation bleeds over into 7 o'clock, we are not feeling like, oh my gosh, it's going to be a long night. I want to give the time because it's a topic. Obviously, it's getting a lot of attention right now, and I'll come to the mayor's letter in a second. But I think it's great for us to get the education. I think we'll be the first city doing that from a
think so,
commission.
yeah.
So very comfortable with that because it's got some time sensitivity to it. So.
Yep.
was gonna come and give her, bi-monthly update, so I can either ask her to come another day or just tell her that she'll be later in the agenda, later.
I think we can, thoughts?
No,
Well, we can get both
doesn't
in there.
matter.
Yeah.
I know Dave has a couple pinnings he wants to do also for some firefighters that day, but I told him at the 7 o'clock meeting so it's more formal for that.
And then we have Kelly Smith, with a resolution, but that one's a simple.
Yeah.
So let's do this if it's pleases the group. Let's start with KDL, go to DAR, and then if we go into the 7 o'clock, we'll go into the 7 o'clock. And then, and if we don't, we don't. But if just make aware, if you would not mind letting her know that we'll have 2 things on at 6:30.
Yep.
That she doesn't need, normally we kind of like, okay, burn the half hour type of conversation. So let's, we have 2 things at 6:30, so we get our updates and move on. And then fire's at 7, so we're good there. Okay.
And then, Sarah, do you need to do how does he get officially invited, or is it enough that I've?
So you want to send me an email, then
Okay,
great,
all
then I
right.
can do that.
Okay, all right. Just
And I
wanna
think the
make
key
sure
is
it's
having
all-
them at the 6:30 so that we give enough time to have conversation.
Yep, sure. Okay, I'll do that. And one final thing, Commissioner Gilbert and I had a chance to meet with Dave Nettie, who was here a couple weeks ago, and got to tour one of his houses and really hear a little bit more specifically about some of the concerns he has, and it was a really good conversation, and he's got some good work he's doing, so, yeah, just move forward with that ordinance discussion as we can, but it's great to have him involved, so,
That was neat. Thanks for doing that.
it's a good guy.
Yeah, he is.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Pumpkin Bash was amazing. Did a great job. Lots and lots of kids and everybody, even the adults for the most part, were happy. Let's see, State Police Building dedication was amazing. It was very nice, well attended. Got to tour the building. I don't think you'd want to be a criminal. I don't see how anybody thinks they could get away with anything with the capabilities that they have of figuring things out. It was just mind-blowing. It was very cool, very cool. And I learned something that I always had a question about. Now I know. And
I
then,
only got lost one time. I got sidetracked.
yeah,
I don't know where the rest of the group
yeah,
went.
yeah, we just gave up on you. It's like,
Yeah.
well, I don't know where he is.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, actually, I was at that point in time. That's right. I realized the rest of the group was gone, so we're good.
And then we did go to Station 3 today. Daryl was there, and he can talk more about that, but with Senior Neighbors and Meals on Wheels. I think it was a good first meeting. I think they were encouraged, and we kind of put the ball in their court, is the way I look at it.
Yeah, I think we just kind of set some ground rules of going forward. They're going to do some homework and get back in touch with us, and we'll kind of keep moving the ball forward. I think they're certainly interested in the space, especially if it's a dedicated space to them that they can keep and maintain and not have to take their tables and chairs down and every day. So I think it could work out, but there's obviously some improvements that need to be made to the kitchen, and they're going to do some more homework on that, and then they'll get back to us, and then we can talk about who and how it's going to get paid for. So, but yeah, great meeting. It was
Yeah,
good.
I thought
think
it-
there were 6 of them there, or 8 of them there from.
Yeah, it was a good group. And I emphasized from my perspective, and I would assume the commission's as well, that I would like to see, some kind of like impact report, and as well as a strategic plan to how are you going to expand this program? How are you going to meet more people? If we're allowing them to use the space, and not to say that 80 people aren't important, but if we're giving them, the city is giving up the use of that space. I would like to see them trying to advance the program and reach out to more people and have more programming and all that, so.
So have that established baseline to start, and what does progress look like over
Right,
time?
right.
How many additional meals were served, and
Yes,
hours spent with programming and things like that.
yeah.
That's good.
yeah.
Cool, thank you. Mr. Chase?
We had a lot of people from our community engagement group come and self-help set up when we did the pumpkin bash. That was really nice to have. The scarecrows will be going up in Lake Michigan, or along Lake Michigan Drive next week. And then as a group, we started working on the wreath contest again for the Christmas time, so.
Good, thank you.
Okay, Kenny is completed. Our neighborhood is very excited. Everybody's happy. Everybody is being very complimentary about the end results. It's like butter. I mean, it's just smooth and it's great, but there are some inquiries, of course. Wondering when the barrels are going to be completely removed. And also, they were wondering if the trail would be plowed during the winter. And I think it's big enough that a truck could even go through there, but I said I simply just don't know.
We don't plow the other trails.
And that's what I said. I use that as a comparison. We don't typically plow the other trails, so I'm not really 100% sure if that will be happening. But anyway, everybody is very, very happy, and there's a lot of bike riders on that trail already, and everybody is very much enjoying that. I had the privilege of going to the Chick-fil-A ribbon cutting, and there was a really nice gathering, and I really thought that they did a nice job with the flag raising, and you could just, it literally, I think, stopped traffic at some point. I mean, everybody was like, what's going on? And everybody's very excited about that. I also had an opportunity to visit the Michigan State Police open house, and the forensic area is just phenomenal. I can't even, there's just so much in there. You can't even get your head around all of it, and it just gives you a new perspective when you're watching a show like Criminal Minds or Forensic Files. So you kind of feel like you're a little bit more involved because you've been there. And then also, great weather, great time, pumpkin bash, happy, a lot of people, a lot of bees, a lot of good weather and smiling faces, and that was great. And then the other comment I have is I'd really love to hear more about the senior neighbor meeting that took place. I guess I wasn't aware that there was a meeting, but I know that Julie Lake, her son Josh Lake goes to MSU with Ava. She had reached out to me, and I told her I just simply did not know what was going on with the status of that relationship, and this was like a month or so ago, and I said, you know what, if you don't know, you gotta ask.
We did bring it up in a commission meeting before.
Yeah,
that the
we
group
did, and that
ready
was
to,
the next
and then
time.
the date was set, and actually Commissioner Groders filled in for me because I had to be in South
Okay.
Bend today. So I wasn't even there today.
Oh,
just
and
asked the staff.
I didn't remember that there was a meeting going on. I had a
no
conference
big thing.
anyway, but,
Yeah.
anyway, I'm glad to see that there's some communication going back on that.
Well, that might be a great segue. When you're ready for that point, just flip it over, and our manager can add if there's anything else to add, but I don't want to cut you short.
There
either.
you go. No, that's it. That's
Okay.
all I have.
All
No,
right.
I think what Melanie and I both shared was really the crux of the meeting. It was our initial kickoff meeting to see if they still had an interest in Station 3. I think coming away, they do. And they're gonna give us a list of what they think they will need, and we'll go from there. But we will have some type of an agreement with them this time, that's for sure, because right now we don't have anything at Station 2, and they're agreeable to that. They have that at their other locations, so. We don't really have a time frame associated with it, but I think when they get back to us, we'll continue to move it forward. I mean, I think as long as the commission's committed to having a space there dedicated to them, obviously we would have priority for elections and some of our things that we would schedule in advance, before, if there's conflicts, but, Yeah, and it's gonna come down to probably the cost of the improvements and who can pay for what, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there, so.
And that's what I had mentioned too, is,
Yep.
there's gotta be a cost associated with the collaboration. We can't always be giving and not getting, something back, so.
Yep, so
Okay,
we'll see where
good.
that lands, obviously, keep you
Good.
in the loop as that progresses forward.
Good.
And then just to jump on Carol's comment on the vets box, we also have a box here at City Hall in the break room. If you don't want to work out, you can drop it off here when you grab a cup of coffee.
You can run to the box.
Yeah, if you would like to.
I like that idea.
And that's all. Oh, the other thing is, I think, Friday morning, I think, is the time our website's going to be cut over to the new website. So just a FYI, that's hopefully that goes smoothly on Friday. And then, yeah, just the comment on the expenditures again. If you notice, it's a pretty big number again. About 23 million of that it was passed through disbursements to the other authorities. So it should be the last big one. So that's it. Yeah.
To Roxanne's question, and then Daryl, to the Kinney new sidewalk condo association, this is, I just don't know this answer. Like in front of my condo association, it's a sidewalk, so our condo association plows it. But would that be the same for Kinney Condo Association? Or is it not because it's wider?
Well, what we've done in the cases along Remembrance Road here is we've required the property owners to plow where we had an existing sidewalk before and then we widened it. We still required them to plow at least the existing part of it as the
Okay.
homeowner. This is kind of a different situation because they never had a sidewalk over there.
But wouldn't that condo association have to plow
I
that?
would think that would probably be at least across their frontage.
Yeah,
Or
that's
at
what I
least
meant.
part of it. If
Yeah,
we are
that's what I mean.
consistent to what we've done in the past, it would be at least half the width of that would be a requirement of that association.
Okay, I thought so, but when you said that,
Same with the sidewalk on the other side. You know, that's gonna be the homeowner's responsibility, and that's kind of the, some things that homeowners don't realize when they want sidewalks, that, oh, I have to maintain it. So, i.e. Maple Row, are those people gonna be wanting to shovel their sidewalk if we put one in? I mean, that's further down the road, but, that's how we've done it here, and I would think we would apply that unless it was done differently.
that's what I thought, but
Yeah.
okay, just wanted to double
Yep.
check on that, because I'm sure we'll get calls.
Oh, I'm sure. Lucky Megan.
Yeah.
That just gave me one to add to the list. I did a wedding in here on a Friday afternoon. I think it was 2 weeks ago, and it was the granddaughter of one of the people that spoke at one of the that lives on Maple Row. Was talking about the sidewalks, and interesting conversation I'd had was we were talking afterwards for a couple of minutes and came back to the sidewalk thing. And this is somebody I know that's lived there for I think 50 years, a little over that. And I'd asked, I mean, are you willing? I said, if the city is able to do the sidewalks there, and I said, it's something that we're looking into. Would you be willing to give up the yard? Because it's one of those things of, we might only be able to do it one side of the street potentially because of the costs, which somewhere is, I think, 150 to 200,000 is the preliminary estimates to make some connections back there. But what if we do one side of the street, not the other? Our neighbor's going to be upset because you took away some of my yard, but you didn't take away some of yours, and all of this. And actually, it sounds like there's quite a bit of harmony in that neighborhood. They want that connectability in the sidewalk. So as we get our CIP stuff after the start of the year, and our finances are a little bit clearer area from because we still have the income tax impact, so that's not going away, and the one-time monies that have been coming from the federal and state level are not going to be coming next year. So as we're looking at things next year after the start of the year in 2022 and looking at those priorities, I'd encourage us to keep looking at that sidewalk as a priority, but maybe at least trying to get one side of the street done to make that connectivity, because it's something we all talked about. So.
Yeah, and I know the commission had asked a meeting or two ago of having Scott and Travis come back in again with the kind of the priority list. So
Right.
I'm hoping to get them probably at the November staff meeting to come and we can talk in detail on the missing sidewalk list and ranking your priorities
Okay.
as we roll into next budget year. So
Perfect.
we got a lot of missing links out there, and if we come into some money that we can do some of these things, let's tick them off so we don't have to have this discussion every time.
Yep.
So.
Perfect, thank you. Halloween, had a couple of people approach at Pumpkin Bash as we were talking about this. I was talking with Daryl about this, and the city, the years I've been around, has not at any point that I'm aware of or he was aware of said, okay, this is the date. It's always been within the community. The community decides when they're observing it. It's always been Halloween night. I know it falls on a Sunday this year, and I respect the deep faith our community has, but the cities has this consistent policy of not getting involved with these. I don't have the authority to do it. I don't know the commission necessarily does, but we could guide staff in a direction. I don't know if it's an area that we necessarily want to get into, but I'm going to put it out on the table for the group.
I saw the city of Granville had just issued like an advisory
Correct.
that like, hey, we don't like have any hand in this, but generally Saturday. And that's I mean, if anything, we could just post that we don't really get involved, so celebrate Halloween when you want to celebrate Halloween, if anything, right? Like, I mean, generally you would expect it to be the 31st.
Which is Sunday
But
night. this
like
year.
for our hand in it, if all the people in Walker decided to go on I feel if we're choosing to have no hand in it, then
Right.
and that's kind of where I'm at. I don't see any reason for us to tell them to do it on Saturday, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Yeah, it's already been published on our behalf, that it's on Sunday, like it's in MLive and stuff. So
I
it's
did
kind
see
of
that.
out there.
No,
It's kind of out there
That's nice
publicly
of
as
'em, all right.
the 31st. And so my understanding is like in my neighborhood, some people are planning on going on the 30th anyway. I'm like, you know what? Just have candy. Kids
Yeah.
knock on the door on Saturday night, give them candy. If they knock on the door on Sunday night, give them candy.
Yep.
We'll be at home watching Michigan State beat U of M anyway, so.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
I think where Commissioner Neville's going.
Yeah, the only thing we have recommended in the past is a time, because they've have contacted Sarah's office a lot of what time can we trick and treat. We've always said 5:30 to 7:30 or 8 o'clock. I mean, again, but then we don't, use common sense.
Yeah, I think it's the. Yep. It's really, I think we can all agree, it's really not in our purview as elected officials to be.
Well, I think we're all fortunate enough that this will be the only time during our tenure we deal with it, right? Because
Right,
7 years.
Right, yeah. I like how you think. All right. So at this point, do we worry about having Nicole put something up there, or do we just let it be? Just let it be. Okay, that's what I'm good with. All right, cool, thank you. Great city event, on to events that are not scheduled by the city or coordinated, either in my role or otherwise. We did have some good ribbon cuttings at the State Police Post and at Chick-fil-A. As Commissioner Groders found out, because we sat next to each other at the State Police Post, we had no idea the governor was coming. We had no idea what a to-do it was. It caught us all off guard. And quite frankly, the initial email that went out, I think of the 17 emails, 17 people on the email, and that's why I had asked to have it sent out to the commission. 7 of them have been with the city, some have been here for years. It's not anything we immediately, when I noticed that was sent out, so the commission's made aware of it. So sometimes we have things, and I would say even with what was the ribbon cutting, did not expect a ribbon cutting because I didn't bring scissors or ribbon or share that with anybody. Chick-fil-A was supposed to be a flag raising with American Legion. So did not know we had a Walker Chamber coordinated event. So I'm not even going to touch it. So that being said, I apologize for any inconvenience or maybe hurt feelings about, I didn't get the invite for it, but I'm in the same boat. And I would even say when you have the governor come into the city and we have no idea, it's probably not great communication, but we'll leave it at that. It was a great event. We're happy to have them here. That's the most important thing. But so that being said, we'll get off that horse. Lastly, the waste to energy piece. I don't know if there will be anything necessarily public on it, but there was a letter sent from the 6 mayors to the waste to energy piece. I think generally speaking, we all understand the need to do what we're needing to do. We believe the cost increase of 45%, which is not being shared to the townships and is disproportionately being shared to cities, and some of them urban cities like Grand Rapids, to those residents. That's being passed along, and the county is really not investing in what they need to invest in either, showing any interest of bonding or touching the rainy day fund. So we've kind of taken exception of it and said, enough's enough. The 6 cities aren't going to bankroll this. Everybody needs to have some skin in the game and be a stakeholder in it. So I think that's going to be part of the thing coming. I'll share the letter, but what I want to make sure here, the letter that the 6 mayors co-authored and sent, I want to make sure it's not an issue of Commissioner Glanville and I being opposite ends of it. It's a discussion of us doing what's right for our community and making sure. So we're doing an education that night so we all understand. And I've not been at the meetings with Dar. We've elected Mayor Kepley to represent the 6 mayors, and he does an excellent job at that. But we just felt like the cost increases were a bit usurious in nature. So anyway, so it'll be good discussion, good background. Please share that website. And then, matter of fact, I'll share with you the letter before I leave tonight, and if you can send both in the same email, if you wouldn't mind doing that. That way everybody has everything for prep work.
I just want to support that too. Yeah, I just want to make it clear there is not any tension here.
Yeah.
It really is a matter of us kind of understanding both sides, or the whole picture. It's not even both sides. It's a big picture.
There's a lot of moving parts to this.
There
This
is
is
a
a big
lot.
thing,
There
but
are,
it
yeah.
is expensive,
So-
and that's what we're trying to all understand.
Right.
Who's paying for it?
And what needs to be paid for how long, and everything else. So yeah, there's a lot. But yeah, I appreciate that, and I'll make sure we get that out. So.
And this is no different than even the rapid, the service extending to the townships. We're under the same, dynamics here of, okay, if you want service extended out to your fast-growing areas, there's a cost to it. The 6 cities are no longer going to continue to be, particularly Walker, be a donor city to the rapid. I mean, and I had a good quick chat with the CEO this afternoon we were talking about something else and the need for continued with the business growth up here, and it was just touching base with her about, hey, this is at the forefront of this city with all of these jobs coming in. We need a little bit more mobile service, and that's coming in 22. So that being said, we're at 7:01. We'll go ahead and call our regular commission meeting to order. I'd like to ask Commissioner Chase to please deliver the invocation this evening.
Shall we pray? Heavenly Father, thank you for today and with the warmer fall weather that we've been having, as we continue to watch the leaves change colors as we prepare for this upcoming winter. Tonight, as we gather here for this meeting, please let your will be done as we do your will. Lord, I ask you to continue to watch over all of our city staff with all the work that they continue to do. Continue to protect all those who are serving for our country. In your name, amen.
Amen. Thank you. I'd like to invite everybody to please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. If I could please ask the clerk to call the roll.
Mayor Carey,
Present.
Commissioner Gilbert.
Present.
Commissioner Glanville,
Present.
Commissioner Groders,
Present?
Commissioner Chase,
Present.
and Commissioner DeShane.
Present.
Next is the approval of absence of Commissioner Burke. I'll entertain a motion for approval and support, please.
Motion.
I'll support.
Gilbert, DeShane, thank you. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Approved absence, thank you. Next is the approval of minutes from the September 27th, 2021 City Commission meeting. Any discussion on said minutes? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion for approval and support.
I'll make a motion.
Support?
Chase and Commissioner Groders. Any other discussion on those minutes? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Minutes are approved. Thank you. Seeing no public in the room, no public comment this evening. Next on the list is one appointment listed and one is a walk-on. The first is appointment of Cindy Ludwick, owner of 7 and Main Salon, to the Downtown Development Authority. We discussed this in the 6:30, Cindy's background a little bit in the 6:30 committee of the whole meeting. Is there any other discussion on this? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion for approval and support.
Make a motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Glanville.
I'll support that.
Commissioner Groders, thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. I'll call Cindy tomorrow and let her know. And then, Darrell, would you mind sending an email? I'll get her, or I think it's in the packet, an email just welcoming her from the city, little,
She'll get a packet this week probably
perfect, thank you.
for next week's meeting.
Yes, yep, perfect, thanks. And then second, I'm gonna do a walk-on item, as we're approving the establishment of the Parks and Recreation Committee, later here. I think just at this point, Commissioner Glanville's headed this up, put this together, with city staff, and very much appreciate the work and effort. I'd like to, add that appointment for her to that Parks and Rec Committee, so she can hit the ground running here. Any discussion on said item? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion for approval and support.
I'll make a motion.
Support.
Commissioner DeShane, Commissioner Gilbert, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Thank you. Next on the list is consent agenda, expenditures in the amount of $23,253,525.42. Daryl shared a lot of that as the pass-through for the property tax collection. Should be the last big chunk for the years he'd shared. So any discussion on said item? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Chase. We have support.
Support?
Thank you, Commissioner Groders. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Can pay the bills. Next on the list is Resolution 21-614, Establishment of the Parks and Recreation Committee. Is there any other discussion on this resolution? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion for approval and support.
Motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Glanville. Support.
I'll gladly support that.
Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. Any other public comment? No. Commissioner, City Manager, anything else for the good and order? Clerk? I'll entertain a motion for approval and adjournment. Or adjournment?
Motion
and-
to adjourn.
Thank you. So we have support.
Support.
Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We are done. Thank you.